Okay. So I like to use Google Docs. I created this team directory, and that's really where we need to do everything. Okay. I can see what's going on. Now, yeah, I tend to like to have several folders. Probably the first one is LTspice, right? Then now PSOC is another thing I like. And Python. Now there's a few some assignments in no particular order, but I like to label things a certain way. And so we do the year 2023. The date is
The 24th.
0124. Business plan. And so basically that's one of the things. And then we'll just do another Google Doc. 2023 0124 final proposal. Okay. Now, so now I'm just gonna kind of be making things up a little bit, right? But this is actually your proposal. All right. And yeah, for instance, we'll just do we'll go to Google Scholar. And I'm just going to do stochastic resonance. This, again, we haven't settled on our project, right?
Yeah, we still have time to talk
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. I'm just kind of like making it up a bit. Like this is what we would be doing. Okay, so you want to use PaperPile to keep track of all your references. I don't know, that could be, and this is something I've been working on, right? Oh, that's cool. Okay. So now that's and PaperPile is free. Okay. And the great thing is just actually. Okay. So these are some of the references, and then for site, right? And I've got it already set up to do like IEEE, right? All right, and those are the references, which now there's a way format. Format, bullets and numbering, numbered list. Ugh. All right, I have to look it up, but there's a way to get it to look like IEEE. I'm just going to do that. Okay. But there's a but that's like so there's really no reason not to cite our work. Okay. So oh yeah, good idea. That's the actual thing. Okay. So oops. Okay. Let's just call it theory or something. I don't know. It's not right. So let's say I do an LTspice simulation. Okay. Let's just make a low pass filter. And I'm going to make this a step. Pulse 0, 1, 1. Actually, okay. And yeah, sometimes you want to make sure everything looks good. And label nodes. All right. And we just need to simulate. So well, 5 tau is 5 seconds, but I'm going to go for 10. Right. All right. And so we run it. Okay. That's a little hard to see. All right. So, I like things a little maybe more rectangular. Right. So I'm just going to copy the not going to quite format it just yet. Oh yeah, you can use Snagit, the snipping tool. But you want to make sure if you're going to use this, you got to make sure you're like really zoomed in properly. Right? Tools, copy bitmap. Okay. And you can give it a specific dimension. I'm eyeballing it right now. Right. And we can say figure. Now, sometimes you don't want to give a number because you'll have to go as you add and delete. You do the numbering kind of last. It doesn't have a nice numbering feature like Word, but so figure 1, LTspice schematic of an RC first order low pass filter with and I'm going to come back to that, tau equal to 1 second. Then here, insert equation town. Okay. First order. I'm going to put something here. Link. And then this will be transient response. Oh, no, I should say step response. You know, 1 volt step response of an RC OS filter. No link. Okay. So now, now this is kind of key. So now I'm going to save it. Test project. I'm just going to go to the desktop, and I'm going to use that numbering scheme. So 2023 01 24. You don't necessarily need it, but I like underscores. RC, something like low pass. Might be better to spell it out. Low pass, right? Tau equals 1. That way you can find it, right? You have to think you're writing this documentation for you a month from now when you've forgotten where things are. And this is something I've really kind of had to learn the hard way, is that, yeah, you got to document things, not necessarily for others, but it's for you to find it. When you have like a long career, like sometimes I end up making files up again and again and again because I can't find them. So now I upload it. Desktop, I think it was. Date. Okay. So now this is in my LTspice. And then I will get the link. Copy the link. All right. And then you put it right there. Bam. Okay. So what's great is maybe you forgot the file name, but you know that the file is somewhere in this report, right? And it's right there. And then also, what if, I give you some feedback that this figure needs to be reworked, like, hey, you should put the tran 10 inside. It'll be a smaller figure. And you're like, oh man, I got to redo it. No, you just go to the link, you find it, re-edit it. Now, yeah, like you probably have to, I don't know, where's download? Yeah, it comes up like the text. So, you download it, right? You open it, F7, right? And then save it. It's probably in downloads. So now I've saved it, but yeah, now you have to have the discipline to come back, right? And manage versions, upload new versions. Downloads. Okay. So yeah, that's the new version, but of course the figure didn't match yet, right? I have to kind of update, go back and update the report. Right. So, and here's the thing, by doing this method, I was actually able to do publications with undergraduates who in fact had already graduated. So I'm going through and like, oh no, like a reviewer will tell me I have to fix something. I'm like, oh no, where is it? Right. And like, oh well, it's right there. And what I'll do is I think I'll show you their copy. So this was their senior project, right? And now, yeah, what I don't have is like, you should have these picture. Well, no, the picture's saved, but there's something I wanted to show you. This is like kind of in the height of the pandemic. So it was kind of like 4 different projects. So here's a picture. Now, yeah, I had these figures, but this is a different tool and it should have link to it. Same with the PSOC thing. Like here's a link to that file. But where's her thing? So this figure here was like, I have an input and an output, but the graph was all screwed up. But because I had the data and I had the original Python, which I used to just put it on the picture, right? I click on the picture and then my Python, now I say link, that way you can find it. But here's the thing, the data was embedded in the Python figure. So if anything happens, like, oh, this should have been in millihertz, or I misspelled spike, I don't have to figure out everything again. I can go back and just make slight changes. And as a result, we were able to get a publication. So, and yeah, I probably should just post this to YouTube for like generic, and then put a link in there. And other things I'll do is anything of important to that project. Let's see, where did I put you guys? I just said team, right? So, now to talk about what we're going to do, yeah, I think we need the whole team. All right, and we need to set a time that we're going to meet every week. Now, yeah, sometimes Zoom is better because I'm showing you something on a computer, which in fact, it's better for you to follow along on the computer in Zoom than actual face-to-face. But, we should have a good health. The time we pick should be good for face-to-face or Zoom. Right? But I want you guys to come up with a time to meet. Okay?
Is it on a weekly basis?
Yeah. And we might cancel, like, okay, we have nothing to say or there's exams, but it'll be a weekly meeting, a stand-in meeting that we will. Okay?
All right. And as for the project, do we have to discuss ourselves among the group, or do we have to discuss it
Well,
with you?
I gave you guys a lot of ideas, I think.
Yes.
I think it would be great for you to talk about it. Now, I have a lot of project ideas that you can just execute. Like I've come up with the idea and you got to do it, right? But I want to give you the opportunity. However, I think pure like the last two teams I've had, I've kind of let them do whatever they want. And they didn't really finish. They overthought what they could do, right? And so I think talk about it, and then I'll try to say, well, here's what I'm doing, and see how it relates to what you want to do, right? And then we can go from there. But if you're saying, well, we want a PSOC type project, okay, great. But think about it. Um, and the interesting thing is some people, they look around and they only see consumer electronics, right? Because you can buy that. But those are actually very hard projects to do, because the consumer, it's going to be impossible to compete, right, with an iPhone, in 1 year, right? So things like research projects or something that hasn't been done before um, tend to be better. So if you look at the PSOC, the one where there was the wire and you put your hand next to it and the LED got brighter and lower, there's like a lot of applications just for that, right? That you can make an underwater fish counter because the fish comes through and it detects it. You can have something where you put it around a door handle, and as soon as somebody touches the door handle, it can send a text message to wake somebody up. And believe me, actually, yeah, I probably could use that with my mom. um, but yeah, because like let's say in dementia patients, like sometimes they're just not supposed to be out and about. And now the thing is at some point you might have to be in full-time care, but you don't want to have to attach anything to a person, because that will sense when they get out of bed, right? So it really could be actually, you can have the wire right next to the bed, and as soon as they put their feet on it, it'll send a little signal, right? Hey, patient out of bed, right? That's something that one could do. But you can think about problems that your families face, things like that, that aren't really being addressed. But and I'm not saying you can't look at existing consumer products for ideas, but they usually just don't turn out well, because they're to get something workable like that in a year is really hard. So what you do is do something nobody else has done. So anything you do is new. Okay. But I just want you, like I gave out some IEEE Spectrum magazines, and like what things are interesting to you, and just let your mind kind of mellow and come up with some ideas, and then we can meet, okay? And come up with something together.
Okay.
All right? Because one day you're going to have to come up with new things. And so we have to start that conversation now. Okay? I certainly don't ask anybody's opinion in 110 what to do, right? And maybe I should change. All right? Any questions on your end?
Not for me. Maybe Jeff?
Uh, for say like for these projects,
Yeah.
if say we need like an external microcontroller or something like that, is that all stuff that we have to resource ourselves or?
Well, it's like this. If I need it for my research, I pay for it.
Mhm.
If you want to do your own thing, you pay for it.
Okay,
So for PSOCs, right? I have them. Right. And I've already, I know I gave one to Kylie, I gave one to Fio, or how do you say that?
You could call me Philip.
Philip?
Yep.
What would you like to be called?
Philip is easier. It's good.
It's up to you. But you know, so I gave some to Philip already and Kylie already, you know. But if we were like something really cool is we could kind of work on these autonomous robots, right? But if
Mhm.
it's like in my research area, yeah, I'll pay for the PCB, I'll pay for the motor, I'll do whatever. Right. But if you're gonna do, yeah, it's like we'll negotiate it. But
Okay,
most people do buy everything themselves.
okay. I was just curious.
But I have space in a lab where you can work, you know, set up things like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
pretty much all I had in terms of questions.
Yeah. Okay. And the thing is, and actually, I wouldn't even say you want to come up with a project. What you want to do is find up with a problem you want to study or fix. Find the problem. Don't like, oh, I have this thing. Let me find a problem that it's good for. No, think about what you want to do. And then, yeah, think about problems you want to solve. Okay. All right, guys. I do have to scoot. Probably the most important thing is coming up with when to meet. Okay.
Okay,
All right. Take care. Have a good day.
thank you. You too.
Thank you. Have a good
Bye.
day. Bye bye.